Hey there, folks. You're listening to MWM Podcast. It's movies episodes, and I'm Ari Dawson. So, I'm going to talk about a very interesting and unique movie today. And the movie name is Shimmer Lake, a crime thriller in 2017. The IMDb rating is 6.3, and Rotten Tomatoes has 60%. So, the popular face is Ryan Wilson from Office, who plays Dwight Schrute in Office. He's playing a very serious role in this movie. So I have seen, or those who have seen in Office, he's a very comical character. The whole series is a comedy series, and his character is very funny. So having played as Dwight Schrute and then acting in a serious role would be really difficult. You have that typecast or cliche. So I think he's done a pretty good performance in this movie. So yeah, that in itself is selling point to watch Dwight Schrute in a very serious role in Shimmer Lake. Okay, so the most interesting and unique aspect that I was mentioning about this movie is its narrative structure. So it's a linear narrative, but then it's told in a reverse manner. So the story happens in a town in 4 days, like starting from Tuesday and ending on Friday. But when the movie begins, we are shown the events in that happens in the Friday, and then like it reverses like Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So over the course of events, we get to know what's happening and kind of foreshadowing being told in dialogues, and then we actually see those events in the past days. So that's what makes it really interesting. They have pulled off this. I think the idea of telling a narrative linear structure in a reverse manner itself is interesting, and they have pulled off a decent execution, which is really captivating. So the story is all about characters. So there is a town, and there are like 5 6 characters around which the story revolves. So the most, or what do you say, the leading characters are Zeke and Andy. Andy is played by Ryan Wilson, Dwight Schrute from Office. So Zeke is and Andy are brothers. So Zeke Sykes. Zeke is a town sheriff. He's the elder brother, I guess, and Andy is his brother. So Andy has a wife and a kid. So the very first sequence is Andy is in his basement in his house, and he's kind of cleaning up something, and then some daughter, a kid, comes down. So I was under the impression that he's trying to steal something from somebody's home, but then when the kid comes, he kind of she kind of knows him already. So, and he started addressing like, okay, don't tell this to mom. So that's when I realized it's its own kid. So he says to the kid that don't tell to mom that I'm here, and you go work. She basically came to pick up something from the basement, so he kind of hands it over and tells the daughter like, you go back and tell nothing about it, like don't say that I'm here. So in the upstairs, so Zeke, the elder brother, the sheriff, and Andy's wife are having conversation. So when the daughter comes back, Zeke kind of identifies, there is something wrong. Like she's silent, and he asks, like, "Did someone is there? No, no, did you see someone in the basement?" So he had actually come for looking for his brother Andy. So the story is like, there's a heist. Basically, they Andy and a couple of what do you say, more than a couple of people have tried to rob the bank, and Zeke was there trying to, he was on guard that night. So on that particular night they tried to rob the bank, and they ended up getting the money, and everybody's like trying to get away from the police. So Zeke knows that he saw Andy, and he kind of lets the wife know that, I saw Andy, and I know that he also participated in this feast, and we have to find him and arrest him. So that's when the story starts on Friday. So over this is how they build, what happened. So Tuesday was the day when the heist happened, and after that, what happened. So what happened on Wednesday, what happened on Thursday, what happened on Friday, that's where the movie begins. So we see a lot of characters, like there's a judge involved who is, who plays an important character, and then there's is a bank owner who himself is being what do you say, blackmailed into robbing the bank. And there is other main characters like Ed and Steph. So Ed and Steph are like husband and wife, and they lost a kid. So Ed is like, meth lab what do you say, meth manufacturer. He has his own lab, and he's, trying to he manufactures his own drugs. So in one of the accidents in meth lab, he lost his kid, and Steph, the wife, feels like the husband is responsible for killing their own kid. So that's the core concept of the story. So this kid's death in the meth lab is kind of traumatic for the husband and wife. And the husband Ed kind of plans this heist with Andy and Chris, the driver, and then the bank owner. So they kind of pull off this heist, but then everybody is murdered. So everybody who's involved in the heist is murdered except the wife and the sheriff. So we are not sure who is the culprit or who has planned this. It's basically, it's not about the heist. It's about the murder of all these people, who were involved in the heist. So that's the whole story. But as I said, it's been told in the reverse order. Like, we see the events of Friday first, and then we see the Thursday's events, and then Wednesday, and then Tuesday. So at the end of the movie, you actually see the heist, how it happened, and how these people were murdered. In the beginning, we feel, or it's been portrayed that they are not murdered; they are alive somewhere. But towards the end of the movie, you kind of it's revealed that all of them, literally, whoever were involved in the heist, has been murdered. But who was the murderer? Who planned this whole thing? So that's the whole movie. And I was, I knew that somebody, it's one of the main characters, right? So you hardly have 5 6 characters, and the whole story revolves around this. So I was thinking, I was trying to, as a filmmaker, I was trying to pinpoint and find out who could be the master behind all this elaborate plan. So in the very first sequence, so we see that Andy is being killed. He's shot dead by a guy inside a car. So we can't see who's the guy. So we just see his when his hands come out with the gun, we see a tattoo in his right hand. So we do not know who is this guy. So that's the mysterious point, and that gets resolved in the ending. So it's like a plot twist, and I don't want to reveal about it, but as I said, you have to go watch it. It's a must watch movie just for the narrative structure told in a reverse manner. And it's a decent thriller. As I said, it moves slowly. It's not a completely roller coaster ride. Like, it keeps you on hook. So there are some dull moments, but I would say it's interesting because you kind of so when we are shown the events of Friday, so there'll be some dialogue that denotes what happened on Wednesday, Tuesday. So it's kind of foreshadowing, and eventually when the day, like when Tuesday's events or Wednesday's events are being shown to us, we kind of see whatever been told in the previous day's events. So that's an interesting kind of connect the dots, and okay, so this was told in the previous scene and we could see it now. So it's very interesting. I like the idea, where a linear structure is can be told in a different manner, like basically reverse the structure. And interesting characters. I felt it's around 1 hour 23 minutes. Maybe they could have prolonged it, like Pulp Fiction. I would say Pulp Fiction was like non-linear structure, and it had its own dull moments, or it's, what do you say? It's not a very roller coaster ride as well, but it had its own moments where even if this movie the scene is slow, it had its own what do you say, epic and kind of evergreen sequences. So they could have built up this story just because of this innovative thinking, narrative, reverse narrative structure. They could have maybe built the movie or the story into a 2 hour or 2.5 hours movie, and given more definitions to the character. I think it would have been a different movie. So it's already good rated. 6.3 is a good rating, and for a 1 hour 23 movies, they've done a great job in telling it in a different way, executing it, and then trying to make sense. So a lot of movies doesn't make sense, right? So this movie makes sense, and it has a unique technical element, like telling the structure in reverse order. And then the performance also is good. As I said, Dwight Schrute from The Office, Ryan Wilson, he can pull off comedy, right? So that's what we've seen in The Office. So when you look at him, you laugh. So for him to play a very serious character, especially a one involving where you are in a heist and you have to show emotions and you have to show this greed. He's done a really good job. I feel that's where the movie kind of let down, because as a writer or a maker, you could have defined more. So there could be more backdrop stories for each of these characters. So we know that every character had this strength and weakness, and it's a town where everybody knows each other. So FBI also gets involved, right? So they tell, like, this sheriff and his deputy sheriff, they kind of tell, it's our town, we know each other, and we welcome you, but then you have to listen to us. I don't want to give away the case directly to FBI. It's our town, and like, it's basically brothers and sisters. So I know my brother has committed a sin and it's a crime, so I'll deal it lawfully, but you have to play by my rules. So that's what they tell the FBI when they arrive, and FBI is okay. They are kind of a bunch of guys. So it has its own dark humor. Yeah, dark humor was one thing they could have improved or kept more of it. And I said 1 hour 23 minutes was not enough, I feel. So, but they have done a very good job of telling this story in a different way with a lot of characters. And I felt it could have been a great movie if it was 1 hour or like half an hour longer. So yeah, do check it out. Shima Lake, available in Netflix, and very interesting. Nowadays I'm watching more of 90 minutes movies. Netflix started recommending a new column for me, 90 minutes movies. I don't know how many of you get that. So for me, it's very short, I feel. 1 hour 30 minutes duration is very quick, and you kind of watch a movie and feel you have watched a movie. So 2 hours or more than 2 hours, you need to invest the time. But these it's 90 minutes movies are so fun. Crime thriller especially, it's fun to watch, and you kind of get into the world. So Shimmer Lake definitely does that. It takes you into this town, and we see the sheriff, we see the lawyer, greedy lawyer, and we see this husband and wife having this traumatic relationship breakdown because of their kids death. And we see a banker, and we see the FBI guys. So it's so interesting, and yeah, I believe you will enjoy this movie. Definitely, it's a must watch, and I would recommend personally for you to go check this out. If you're having Netflix subscription, please do watch it. Shimmer Lake, 2017 crime thriller, 1 hour 23 minutes, IMDb 6.3, and Rotten Tomatoes 60%. And I hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast episode. We're gonna have more guest speakers and more such episodes with interesting movies and very amusing and what do you say, thought-provoking discussions going forward. And thank you for supporting this podcast series. And yes, you're listening to MWM Podcast, Movies and Books. I'm Matty Dawson. You'll hear me from another episode. Until then, it's Matty Dawson. Bye bye.